Alright, we are recording for Chapter 6 of Star Trek V Final Frontier. This should be fairly short, I hope. Not a whole lot going on. It's mainly like just putting the pieces on the board or getting them in the right positions for what's about to come. Some exposition as well. With this. Both Sulu and Chekhov had taken a temporary reduction in rank to serve under Kirk. I've been hating the whole nonsense with Sulu was supposed to be captain of the and all that because, like, you're not consistently telling it. The behavior around the situation doesn't align with, just felt like let's do this so there's extra tension here. And Sulu really wanted to be a captain. It's like, let's just do this instead of hey, does any of that make sense? Well, not really. Then don't do it. By the way, one thing that I did, and it's like, maybe I'll be lucky. And it's just that the source material, as far as the screenplay and such, that's what Dillard's problem is. Because I quickly looked, and it appears he also did Star Trek 6. I am concerned. But yeah, it's like, oh great, now Chekhov is also supposed to be captain, because he's referred to as commander. And I'm pretty sure, I don't think he was being referred to previously as lieutenant commander. I'm pretty sure as commander. That well, even then, he could be a commander in his position. He wouldn't need a rank reduction to lieutenant commander. And there's been no explanation. Yeah, that's true. He was a full commander in Wrath of Khan because he was first officer on the Reliant, and that position would be that typically of a commander, not lieutenant commander, just commander. Spock is kind of unusual in that he's a captain serving under Captain Kirk, but it's still, that's the position he wants, position Kirk would want him in and all that. So, but it's like, no. You've never set up that Chekhov as anything but a commander. Shut up about Because also that means that potentially you have on... Yeah, actually no, not a potentially. Literally, every single officer on the Enterprise is of full commander or captain rank. The only commanders are possibly Scotty and Uhura. Scotty doesn't want to be a captain, makes sense for him. Uhura, I could see it working out this way for her. Where she can see it as, okay, I can keep doing this where I am helping the great Captain Kirk, not that she would call him great, but like, I work well with him, I assist him, this is of benefit, and great benefit. So it's a good situation, she's able to do good things. Or I could see her getting command of a ship, but I think it would be a smaller ship. I don't think she would want a starship. I don't think she'd want to be somebody that would be in a military situation, but as more a diplomatic ship or a science vessel. I could see her potentially enjoying that. I think that would make sense for her. But I could see her also recognizing that that would be she would not be having necessarily as great an impact as she would if she serves with Kirk. So I could see her also refusing promotion to captain because this is my place. Just like Scotty. This is my place. The thing is, Scotty, I think I could see Scotty making a transition to another ship more easily than Uhura. Just communications, you need a rapport is kind of the thing. Engineer, maybe not so much, so. But no, Chekhov. And it's also odd that he's being referred to here as just a great navigator. It's like, in the motion picture, he went to become a weapons officer. So he's actually, like, he was head of security, and he was at the Weapons Council. That's not a navigator position. Ilea was the navigator, so it's... I wonder how somebody who's actually been in the military, because I've not been, I just see this, and it's like, they're just throwing stuff out there that's nonsense. I was like, I got one story that I'm working on. What is the story I'm working on at the moment? That does have military stuff there, and I had to come up with a reason for why a lot of the chain of command doesn't exist there. I had to come up with a reason where it's like, okay, that seems to make sense. Here, it's like, what the hell is a chain of command even? I mean, not that there isn't chain of command, but the concept of rank seems to be non-existent here. It's like, or it seems to exist, but in a way that doesn't make sense. Because, I mean, it's like, no, Chekhov, you've never mentioned he should be anything but a full commander at the moment. Don't tell me about rank reduction. And there's no reason he can't be a commander and in his position. Sulu, you've never established he was actually a captain. You've just said that, oh, in theory he would be this, but even then, stuff around that, like the whole, fine, you can't be in command for the shakedown cruise. The first officer can be, and you'll just get command when you're free. It's like, that would have solved so much. It also would have removed so many problems. But it's just so many problems that weren't necessary. It would have removed so many problems that weren't necessary. And it's just like, this isn't what makes sense. And it also contradicts what you had in the motion picture, where Decker was captain of the Enterprise while it was in space dock or wherever. I'm actually not sure, because what they show for it is not space dock. But in any case, it's like during the whole refit, he is captain of the Enterprise. So Sulu should have been captain of Excelsior. But then he's so often referred to as commander. It's like, no, he is captain. Sulu. That's who he is. And them stripping him of that is way more problematic than, he hasn't yet taken the sense. He's like, no, he should be captain of the Excelsior. But that's not what they did. And just... And I fully acknowledge, I'm getting so frustrated from this on a technical thing, even though I don't have a background in the military, that may make me want to be this technical. It just is like, this is nonsense. Even I can tell. Because there's a notion, my understanding for the Navy, that there's a notion of captain as in rank and captain as in role. That, and even have that in an episode of Deep Space Nine, I think I mentioned this before, where even though it was Dax, who, I don't remember if she was commander or lieutenant commander at the time, but she was in charge of the Defiant at one point, and I think it was O'Brien who referred to her as captain. And Nog was there, who was like a cadet or something at the time still, and was like, why did he call her captain? Somebody explained, it's an old Navy tradition, whoever is in charge of the ship, whoever has the role of the center seat, is called captain. Doesn't matter what their actual rank is. That's who they're called, and that's where he then has the line, Nog does, of, does that mean that if I ever take command, you'll have to call me captain? It's like, yes, but at that point, we're all dead. There's no one left to call you captain. It's like, and not even Nog's like, yeah, that's fair. And Nog was a good character. Anyway. So I just, like, it isn't an issue that Spock is a captain, but isn't in the captain role. It's like, it's just his rank. So the whole, like, oh, we have to temporarily reduce in grade. It's like, no, you don't need to. And also the whole thing with the motion picture, again, you don't need that. Oh, and that also relates then to this. See, this rant accidentally aligned. I won't say I planned it, because I didn't. But the next thing. That's quite an understatement, Bob. Bob is the admiral who was contacted the ship to tell Kirk what's up, which is weird because you'd think that, yeah, we need to bring you back aboard the ship, we need to get going, here are the orders, explain anything, but anyhow. With all respect, Enterprise is a disaster. There must be other ships in the quadrant. Other ships with no experienced commanders. For this captain, we need Jim Kirk and his crew. So put them on a different ship that's functional. I mean, Excelsior might be sitting right there because it had to have Scotty's sabotage repaired, likely did by the time of Voyage Home, but then had to recover from the probe, from the Traveler. And it is actually said, it was said earlier that when they come aboard, you have the whole line between Kirk and Scotty about state of the ship, and it's like, you said it would take 2 weeks, and I gave you 3, and Scotty's like, I think you gave me too much time. Which, that can be a real thing in that I found so many issues where it's like, I'm now ripping things out that were marginally functional before because they were only marginally functional. I ripped those out to fix them, and that's why I say that. So you gave me too much time. That can be a real thing. But just... You put them on a different ship, because the ship isn't that critical here. And also, I just... This is something for later as well, but, I mean, it doesn't really... Yeah. I can talk about it now. It doesn't matter. It's just later on... The next stuff that I have is on the Klingon ship with Claw. But the later thing was just, like, even the log, the captain's log recorder, which... The log recorder, because other people would also be able to record logs, isn't working either. It's failing. It's like... This is just stupid. Okay? I'm sorry. It is absolutely stupid. It's absolutely ridiculous. It's absolutely absurd. That everything is failing. It's like... These are independent systems. Why is the log recorder not working? That should be its own thing. That, yes, connects into the computer, but it's like I'm writing a file on the computer. And also, they describe that the turbo lift is having trouble. And that it only opens up one door, and that McCoy actually walks into it even. And it's not realizing it didn't open before he smashes his nose against it. It's like... The turbo lift system as a whole, I could believe, is completely modular. Right? As in, it's the same damn thing on every single Starfleet ship. Unless it's so old, it's just an older model. But by that I mean, you install it, and it's functional. It's a complete system. Yeah, maybe it is connecting into the computer, but it still is it's functional. The idea of a door not opening is like, that's not how these things work. Because they would have been installed complete. And I'd imagine a lot of the stuff would be like that as well. So... What are you doing here, saying that literally nothing is working except apparently artificial gravity and life support? It's like, it doesn't make sense. I mean, if it were turns out that the computer is faulty, and that this is having a ripple effect on every system, it's like, okay, that I can believe. And that is disrupting everything. Fine, let's go with that. Oh, one problem. What the hell is Scotty doing? This is not I need to be... And like Sulu, when they get to the bridge, is underneath his console messing with some stuff there. If the computer is having a problem, you work on the computer. You don't work on the client stations. Because that's not where the problem is. The problem is at the computer. So, I mean, it's... See, now this I can get technical on. It's such nonsense. It is such utter nonsense. I'm just trying to think what would be... Phone here. Let's see if this works. So there's display, there's the touch screen in the display. There's... Well, let's consider the backlight as part of the display. There's a few physical buttons. But there's microphone, there's speaker, there's the various cameras, there's the various antennas and radios connected to those, the battery, the CPU that has a GPU portion in there, and the RAM and the storage. Okay. So, if it were the CPU that were faulty in this, right? Well, that would hit everything. I'm just trying to think, would there be an example? Well, okay. Maybe, yeah. If the CPU were damaged in this, but everything else were fully functional, then the display can be wrong. Well, the display may still come on, but it might not work very well. The microphones would still work. And see, part of the issue is I don't know what error do we want to say that the CPU is having. Because that is important there. Because, like, in theory, you could have it where, see, I'm just thinking, would be saying, because that's true, there's also the operating system. That actually would make more sense, I guess. Let's say that it has the error that no notifications go off. But it receives every call, it receives every message, and it's able to transmit out every call and every message. But it's just, it never notifies you. Okay? Regardless of if you have it on Do Not Disturb or not. Let's say it's something like that. That means if you record a log message on this, there's no problem there. If you dial a number, no problem there. It's just you might not, if somebody calls in, you might not get a notification, know to pick it up. You could send messages just fine. You could record videos just fine. Another option is, what if there were a bad cell in the memory, in the storage? That could happen, but other storage would be fine. And in theory, what flash memory is actually supposed to do, because it is actually an array of multiple cells, memory cells that are all connected together, and this is why, a little bit of an aside, this is why you'll actually see that larger drives can actually have faster read and write speeds. Excuse me, because they have more of those cells, and they work on them in parallel. So if there's 4, and just let's say that you can do a gigabit per second writing to each of them, then that's 4 gigabits per second you can write. But if you have 8, now it's 8 gigabits per second. It kind of does work out that way. But let's say you've got a bad cell, or just a bad spot on one of them. This is actually something that the firmware, the controller in the SSD, is supposed to handle. And it's like, okay, that's bad. All right, well, I over-provision stuff, so we're going to stop using that cell and just activate one that isn't. This is part of wear leveling, because SSDs do wear out. I am very fortunate. I've never experienced that. Well, actually, no, I take that back. This drive is dead. I have no idea why, and it was out of warranty, but it was like not even a year old. Maybe it was 2. Maybe it was not 2 years old, but still. And it's funny because this is like legitimately one of my first flash drives. Still works fine. At least the last time I used it. Anyway, but because of wear leveling, to try to make sure that every individual bit in there is not being written over too much, because that does wear it out. They actually, instead of like always writing on the first bits, it goes around, and also has over provisioning, where it will just make sure that, okay, there's some amount that we're not actually using immediately, and it's like, okay, well, we'll just start writing to those blocks, so now we're no longer writing to these. And in theory, you're actually supposed to, like on Windows, if you leave a portion of a drive not formatted, the controller is supposed to recognize that and then use that for additional wear leveling. I'm not sure necessarily. I'm trying that. Like, I've got a 2 terabyte in the test system that I use for processing video and such. Recording video to it and processing video. Not exactly recording video, but in any case. That I actually left about 400 or 500 gig unformatted, specifically so that it can use it. Because I know that, true, that's mainly serial stuff, not random, right? So it actually shouldn't be much wear on there to begin with. But it's still, that is actually, I did that so that it can wear level and hopefully last longer that way. But it is, if you had a bad cell there, that is causing corruption, it's like, okay, we can still work around that. And that doesn't impact the cameras, that doesn't impact the microphone, that doesn't impact the antennas. So the idea that literally everything is bad here does not make sense. A starship should be so complex, have so many independent systems, that while some could fail utterly, others should not even be conscious of it, should be completely unaware of that other failure. But that's not what we got here. And just frustrates me. It does. So let's get to Claw now. So he's not competent, but anyway. None disputed that Claw was the Empire's best gunner, but many suggested a ship of his own was too great a reward. Yes. He had heard the guy. This is something that would only make sense if they are at time of peace, by the way. I mean, I've said in previous videos, he should not. What he did, fine, great. Give him all the medals. He doesn't deserve a command. Not based on that. He had heard the gossip. The most jealous of them called him an idiot savant, a genius behind the gunner's rig. There might not be. Jealousy is an internal thing, not an external thing. I can get to that in a little bit. What Claude needed now was yet another incredible victory to cement his reputation as captain, and he could do that himself, without the moronic Morak's help, without anyone's help. Morak is the ship's gunner. The funny thing is, he wouldn't necessarily, but by getting another victory, it's like that doesn't actually ensure that you deserve command. That's not necessarily going to sway people, because it might be like, okay, yeah, you won another battle, but captains do more than that. Why would I want to serve under you, especially if you're a hothead? It's like, it's one of those things I could believe. It's like, yeah, but you're lousy for morale. You're a lousy commander. You're just so you can win a bunch of fights. You're not supposed to be fighting all the time. Even in the Klingon Empire, there is downtime. But yeah, so jealous versus envy. So jealousy is about what you... It is like an unhealthy obsession over something you already have. So... And being overprotective of it. So, like, I can say, because it's potentially quite true, I am jealous of my stories. I am very protective of them. Envy is wanting something else. So that would be... Maybe that would work. This is not by many metrics, a successful... You know, what the hell? I have it open. Why not look? This is not what you could consider a successful YouTube channel. 433 views over the past 28 days, 10.2 hours watch time. All right. I wonder how much... Yeah, average view duration, 1 minute, 17 seconds, 257 seconds. I mean, it's okay. I mean, it's just kind of funny. And it's like, whatever. So it's like, I'm okay with that. I do this stuff because I enjoy it. I do believe that some of it is still of a kind of value to show that, yeah, you can be critical of stories that you do. Like, I was critical of Wrath of Khan. I think that was a fantastic story. I loved it. But I could still be critical of that. Search for Spock. I enjoyed that. Critical of it. Voyage Home. I did not enjoy that so much, and it's definitely critical. And this one I'm very critical of. Oh man, please let Undiscovered Country be good. I'm still going to be critical of it, but let it be good. So it's like, I don't need this to be successful, but there are definitely some people that, if they see that, oh, why isn't my channel doing so well? It's like, there's all these other channels out there that are doing something similar. Why am I not doing so well? I need to be doing well. I need to, like, take their subscribers. I need to start following, you know, everything that other channel is doing and replicating that, so that I'll just get their audience. I'll steal their audience. That's envy. Okay, that is envy. Where you're trying to take what somebody else has there. And it's not healthy. It's not a good thing. Jealousy, it is about being what you already have there. So it would be, I guess, to continue trying to use a YouTube channel example, which is not really that great. It would be like two things here. So the whole chapter by chapter daily video analysis stuff. It would be like if I saw somebody else doing that and I tried to stop them. So that, no, this is my thing. You can't don't do that. But that would be jealousy. Because it's being overprotective. And it would also be like if somebody said, hey, you know what? You should do this instead. And if I would just like outright say, no, that's not what I'm doing. That again could be jealousy. Because it's protecting. It's like, no, this is my thing. It's not your thing. You don't give me. Though to be fair, I have had some ideas about, you know, what I could do in other ways to grow this channel. I've more or less decided. I may change my mind still. When I finish Star Trek 6, I'm going to take a break from doing these as daily videos. I might do other things. I want to work on the written reviews of the other stories I've done. I'm pointing over there because that's where the physical ones are. So I may work on that. And then I'll come back. And maybe at that point, I will also try experimenting with another thing or two. I'm not sure. I don't want to commit to that. Because some of them, it's like, that's an interesting idea. It might work. I might also hate doing it. So, yeah. But, man. Sorry, it is just one of those pet peeves of mine that jealousy has become colloquially a synonym for envy, but they are in fact two different things, and it does annoy me when I see people getting that wrong. Also have this. Excuse me. Kirk, the criminal who had killed almost an entire crew of Klingons, stolen their vessel, developed the Genesis device with the intention of committing genocide against the Empire, because Claw now knows that It is Kirk who's been sent to Nimbus 3. He's like, awesome, I can get this guy. And it's like, it is interesting that he is believing all the propaganda from the Klingons. Which, I mean, to be fair, he would. Because why would he not? It's like that is... Klingons likely have state-run media. And make sure it's only the messages that they want, not the whole... Yeah, it was a renegade Klingon that went out to violated Federation space, killed everyone aboard the Grissom, murdered people on the ground as well. I mean, it's like, you know, we're going to ignore all that. Yeah, so it just... And also that the purpose of Genesis was not just... We're going to... But it's still a little interesting to see that there. Because it does help provide some degree of motivation, but it is still... He is completely about... He just wants to prove himself. And it's like... It's also one of those things, it's kind of like the ranting that I went on in whatever chapter that was. It was an earlier chapter. In Voyage Home with the Excelsior being disabled and Styles. And how Captain Styles was all about, he wanted to be the new Kirk and all that, and how he talked about how that's going to prevent him from ever achieving that, because he's either going to keep Kirk as a standard he will never meet, and so he's just always going to see himself as a failure and start second-guessing himself, or he's going to consider Kirk beneath him, and then not make the right decisions. You just believe he is great, and that will be enough, and you're not going to be doing things properly. And I feel like Claw, that's kind of where he is as well. He feels he has to prove himself. It's like, dude, shut up, head down, just do what needs to be done. You prove yourself by doing what needs to be done, and when something extraordinary comes up, you do that. You don't try to force the extraordinary thing, because you're more likely than not going to make it worse. I'm sorry, but there is just in reality there, that if you force the extraordinary thing, and it's like... Okay, I can close this out. He is all excited, and even thinking about how, yes, the Enterprise will be there. We can just sneak up behind it while cloaked. It's like, dude, you're gonna be in the frickin' neutral zone. The Federation starship is going to be there on a rescue mission that multiple governments are aware of, and you're like, I'm gonna go destroy it. It's like, how do you not understand? You're literally making the decision to trigger a galactic war. That is what you are doing. You are forcing an extraordinary situation that best case scenario is you become a pariah in the Klingon Empire, because it's like, holy shit, we just had to talk the Federation down from coming in here and stomping us to nothingness because of your idiocy. The dude is such a fucking moron. And it's just like... But always thinking is, oh, well, this will get me great honor. It's like, no, it won't. This was not... Because it's also that. This was not his mission. This is not his mission. His mission is to deal with the hostages. That's it. If anything, every action he takes, separate from that. So him attacking the Enterprise, all that. Every single one of those actions would actually be a dishonor. Such that he should have... Even if he would succeed, bring Kirk back and James, all that. There would still be somebody in high command that'd be like, you did nothing we told you to do. You failed your mission. You need to understand that. Because, yeah, you're getting all these accolades. That's fine. We are never going to allow you to be on a ship in a location where you can do shit like this again. Because you have dishonored us. We gave you orders and you decided to ignore them. And not for good reason. For personal benefit only, not for the Klingon Empire. Doesn't matter that, yeah, we care about honor. That does not matter. You serve the Empire. Our honor as a species, as a culture, must come before yours. You screwed up. That should be how the Klingons would view this asshole. It just... That, for what it's worth, is similar to my critique of Styles, in that that's just me getting provoked by what's in the story. Not necessarily the writing of the story. Like, this dude's an absolute moron. So that's actually a positive thing. As I even mentioned in the written review for Voyage Home, that my whole going on about criticizing styles, and I do make the point, look, this is actually positive because it's something within the story that's provoking me in this way. And stories, not always, but can be about, can be provocative, can be meant to provoke people like that. So it's like, you are succeeding that way. Good job, Dillard. That doesn't mean I like how any of this is going. But there is still that element of, when is Claw going to have a reckoning? I don't know. I mean, in theory, it will be at the end when Cord forces him to apologize. At least in the movie, that's what happens. But there could be an element of it there. Because he needs to get slapped down hard. Because, I mean, he is so out of place for where he is. And so desperate to try to force himself into place. He isn't paying attention to, no, you're... By you trying to force yourself into the place you think you should be, you're actually going outside the place you are in and are supposed to be in. So, yeah, it will be interesting, and I do hope that there's more, like, this setup, this stuff working out where it is like, Captain, we're not supposed to be doing this. You know, stuff like that where people are standing up to him. I don't know. We will see, but it is... Dillard could just write it very well at the end when we get to Cord, essentially humiliating. Like, well, not necessarily humiliating. It could be taken that way, but humbling him. That will be interesting to see, because you can do that in a way that it actually works, where he does get it, and Claw stops being the moron that he is. That could work. It's just a single event shocking him into it. But I don't know. I want to see things leading up to that. Hopefully we will. Hard to say. That's it. Next is Chapter 7. I guess just quickly look. On the forward observation deck. Okay. Yeah, because it was also that they've seen the video, so Spock has now seen Sybok, and is like, shit. I mean, as much as a Vulcan can do that, it's just like, whoa. So now he has to go investigate stuff. And so Kirk and McCoy are both confused by what's going on with this. Which is also a little funny. And I get it is the trio, but it's like he's having to look at the image of Sybok at Uhura's station because the main viewer is out. It's like, and Uhura doesn't have a comment here as well. I mean, it's like, she should also have a reaction. She knows him just as well, for as long as the other two. So, anyway. I mean, it's just one of those small technical things that... It is a family. Yes, the leaders of the family are Kirk, Spock, and McCoy. But they are a family, and I don't... If you can, you don't need to, but I like it when they decide to take the opportunity, like that, having Uhura also have a reaction, because, like, they are also there. When they're not there, it can be disappointing, so... Alright. Enough of my blathering and ranting and rambling and such. See you next time.